Underground Reptiles, proper way to feed baby tegus. Baby tegus, proper diet and food. So many people ask us, so many people always ask them, what do you feed them, how do you feed them, so forth and so on. I'm going to tell you how I feed them. Now this does not vary from location to location, from town to town. This is how you feed them. Now there are certain ways to feed them, like again, we use MacGyver as a kind of a guide rule on how to take care of your animal when you keep it in the house and let it run around, and all the variety of food he feeds them, that works great for him. If you're raising a cage pet, this is how you feed him. This is not for trying to make one of these things a house pet. I'm not good at that. I've never done it. That guy's the best. He's got it down. Again, go to MacGyver Lizard or however he calls it. This is a baby tegu. This happens to be an Argentine, black and white baby tegu, just hatched out a couple of days ago. Now when they first come out of the egg, if the egg has gone full term, which is about 70 days, give or take a few days one way or the other, you're going to see they have what's called a belly button right there. If he's gone full term, when he comes out, it'll be all healed. Sometimes there'll be a little umbilical cord, sometimes there won't be. Notice how the babies have the greenish head going down into the shoulders. Usually they lose that within a year, depending on how fast they're growing and what kind of sunlight they're getting and ultraviolet and all that stuff. Food that you feed them. Now this does vary depending on how many animals you're housing together. Let's, for argument's sake, say you have the proper environment like that we showed again. Just quick review, 30-inch, 20-gallon cage, heat and ultraviolet light, nice humidity into the 60s and the 70s, mulch type of substance on the bottom that's clean, not that you got from Home Depot that has bugs in it. Say you have that. Now if you just have one animal, crickets, super good. Now these are half-growns. They can actually eat full-grown crickets even as babies. It's not a big deal to feed them. They chew it up, they eat it. In the wild, they're carry-on eaters. So they chew big hunks off. They have different sets of teeth, some for piercing, some for tearing, some for chewing. They've got all that. Crickets are great because they're real high in phosphorus, but they're not a staple diet. They're a good starter diet, gets them started. So let's say you're feeding your baby tegu and you want him to grow really fast, which a lot of people say, oh, I want my tegu to grow fast, I want to be big and beautiful. Fine, feed him every day. You could even feed him 2 or 3 times a day. First you start with the crickets. This is a Zupreme feline diet. This is the Tegu monitor. Now listen, I don't have a preference on style and kinds. It's not like ZoomEd's paying me any money or Exoterra's paying me any money to make these videos. I make these videos for the animal keepers. I make them for the lover of the pets. So I really don't care what brand you use. Now this also though is not your staple. It's not your everyday only thing you feed him. It's your addition to. It's your supplement. It keeps him fat without having him to chase crickets all around all the time. Now, as other diets go, as he gets a little bit older, doesn't even need to be a little bit older, these are what's called hornworms. Real high in fat, really good in calcium. Excellent, and they flip out on these things. And the good thing about these things is they start out little tiny that they can eat them, or they go really big. I mean the size of your pinky or thumb. Well, you guys can see the videos where I have them. There's something about these things that tegus absolutely love. Now a lot of people say, are tegus omnivores or carnivores? I've seen tegus, and I have tegus that can eat fruits and vegetables. I don't feed them that very often. Usually if I feed them a watermelon every couple of months, or a couple of grapes, or even some cherries, it's rare that they'll eat them on a consistent basis. For me, that's what I've experienced. But keep this in mind, I'm raising my animals up to be breeders. I've seen them in the wild eat fruits, berries, I've seen them eat acorns. They'll eat almost anything they can get their mouth on. The question is what's good for them, what's consistent. They won't eat that stuff consistently. Meats are the only thing they'll eat consistency. So figure, for most tegus, it's 85-15. Are you with me? Okay. Vitamin supplements, super important. Calcium, high calcium. I personally right now like the Repeshy Super Cal with high D3 in it. I dust all their food with this, and then there's the multivitamin. The Reptivite makes a ZoomEd Reptivite. RepCal Herptivite's good. Any solid multivitamin. Now listen, the way we raise up our animals. You've seen how this past year we did something we've rarely ever done and raised our animals up really quickly and gotten really big. What we do is we go to the grocery store, whether it's, I don't know if you got Walbaum's, Publix, Winn-Dixie, Piggly Wiggly's, Ingles, I don't know what part of the country, what part of the world you're from, but you can go there and you get chicken hearts. Chicken hearts are about that big, and they're $1, usually $1 to $1.49 a pound. So you get this giant plate. Now for baby tegus, so you take the baby tegu, you take the plate, and you literally cut up the chicken heart into little tiny bite-sized strips for him. They'll eat those down, and you shape them so that they could swallow them down all in one shot. They also have chicken livers, beef heart. All these things are so high in proteins and calcium. To cut them up, to dust them with the vitamins and put the plate on there is super good for them when you're raising them up. Yeah, another thing you can get them on, as soon as they're large enough to get pinkies and fuzzies down their gullet, it's a good thing to do this. Now, frozen or live, it doesn't matter. It's just as good. It's no problem. There's a little fuzzy mouse. They'll eat pinkies, fuzzies. Obviously, as they get older, they'll even eat rats and some other stuff too that you can get. But as soon as they're old enough to get onto these, the more food that you can get them to eat, obviously because it's a reptile, the larger it'll grow and the faster it'll get there. The more balanced diet, the more more proper lighting you have on them, the better your animal's going to look. The melons in the skin from the ultraviolet, so forth and so on. Never forget though, the crickets are real important for the phosphorus factor in the crickets. Something about these crickets. Now, a lot of times we'll get people who say, they'll call me up or they'll bring their animal by and they go, oh, my tegu, it has the shakes. They'll see it'll be under the light, it has shakes. That's because it's not getting enough phosphorus D3 mixture. Super important for these animals is that phosphorus and D3. Change your UV light. Make sure you're heavily dusting with the calcium and the multivitamin your animals, and make sure that you got crickets in their diet and they won't get them shakes all the time. Your animals will start to grow big and healthy and strong. Keeping a variety is very good, very important for them, raising them up and handling them. Another thing people say, now we'll go into this in greater detail on other videos, but people always say, man, once my tegu hit, you know, this big, he started going crazy, he was really mean, blah, blah, blah. Listen to me, that's normal, it'll happen, it's like teenage behavior. We'll talk in the future about how to break them of that. But in the meanwhile, these are the food substances, these are the food products you can use. Always important. There you go. Thanks for watching so much, we appreciate you. Of course.